Hey, how's it going everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing a quick duel video on Master Duel for the Duelist Cup event. I was running the Noble Knights, and as you can see, I did open up pretty bad. So right off the bat, I thought this was going to be an automatic loss. But my opponent is playing Floowandereeze, but he is playing the variants with the Monarch engine. So I believe that one isn't as consistent. So he ends up making a pretty lackluster board, which helped me out a lot, being able to try to get back into the game as much as possible. And he ends up getting a couple searches and a couple of draws, but nothing too crazy. And he just ends up passing turn with 2 sets. Of course, he uses that card to banish to add one, and I added the Moniker up because I wasn't planning on special summoning anyways. So he attacks for some reason, which was really weird, and he takes some damage, which ends up changing the entire outcome of the game, of course. But I go ahead and equipped Duelist onto the brothers, because that's the only play I really have. And he activates, of course, Vanity's Emptiness. So I use Morgan right there, because I did not want to deal with Vanity's Emptiness. That card is crazy. It's basically a card that most decks auto-lose to. So I end up going ahead and negating that, which is very nice. And then Duelist will come back because Morgan destroys it, and allow me to then destroy his other set, which was the Monarch's Erupt, which was very helpful. From here, my thought was, okay, maybe if I can protect brothers as long as possible, maybe I can get back into the game. And my opponent again does some searches and does a couple other plays, but he ends up only ending on 2 of his Floowandereeze cards and does not tribute summon, which was really weird. I think it's because I didn't have anything in the graveyard at the moment, which was a bit unfortunate for him, but he could have just done Ryza. I'm not too sure why he didn't. Maybe he thought that was a weaker play. But I go ahead and get a monster finally, go into Isolde, which is going to allow me to get my gear freed and an extra summon, which, seeing as my board state is really weak, I usually go for Boars, because not only does Boars get the traps to the graveyard, which come in very clutch, but I can also equip Gwen to him, and he becomes a dark, and I can get rid of some monsters that can be destroyed by card effect, which is really nice. So I could have gone for brothers to get a draw, but I didn't think that was going to be too impactful. So yeah, like I said, I went for Boars just for the setup, and the traps really come in clutch later in the game. And of course, Gwen on Boars is always pretty strong. So I go ahead and attack over his Talkin, and then I destroy his trap, which the main reason why I did that is because I didn't want the Eaglin to go to the banish pile, just because I feel like they get a lot more advantage that way. And I go ahead and pass turn. He gets the spell card that tributes one of my monsters, and he gets rid of my Boars, which was pretty strong for him. And of course now he has the Pen on the field, which is going to be a pain for most decks. Not being able to activate monster effects in attack position is crazy. So he goes ahead and tributes for the Ryza, and he returns my equipped spell cards for some reason, which he should have just done the monster because it could be targeted. So I'm not too sure why he went that route. But then he gets all his effects, which gives him a lot of advantage. And right here, of course, I thought it was going to be game over, but I do have the traps in the graveyard, so I was just saving it for battle phase, so that way I can at least protect for 1 attack, which would be helpful, depending on what board, of course, my opponent was going to be able to make. And now that I'm looking at the duel, I do remember he does end up tributing my Isolde anyways, so that's probably why he didn't mess with it. But yeah, he's just doing Floowandereeze stuff. He's going to get a huge board, being able to search the Apex Avian, which I knew right there and then I was going to have to hope that that was going to be the end of his board, and I was going to be able to bait out the negate and still survive, which that's what I was hoping. So he summons the Avian, of course. I use the effect of one of the traps in the graveyard. He does end up negating it, and luckily for me, he did not have enough damage on board to actually end the game, which was very helpful. And so he's just going to do big damage, and I still have that other trap in the graveyard, which I'm going to be able to use on my turn, which is amazing because I also have a Noble Arms in the hand. So basically, my plan was just to get out Madrat with the trap card, and then with Madrat's effect, I was going to use the effect to bring out Noble Knight Dristan, put them both in defense position, of course, because of M-Pen, and then pop M-Pen, which I was hoping he didn't really have a response, because I didn't have to normal summon to do any of this, because of course the field spell would have gave him a bunch of advantage. So I go ahead and get rid of the M-Pen. Now I'm able to do more plays. I go ahead and banish to special summon the Gearfried, which I've said this 1,000 times. If you're running a deck that has equipped spell cards, Gearfried is one of the strongest ones you can run in the main deck as kind of a boss monster. So of course I exceed into Artorigus, get rid of his back row just in case he has anything to stop my attacks or anything like that. So I just beef up Artorigus, and since he doesn't have a response to anything, I'm able to actually attack for game because he had two of his weaker monsters on the field. So yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.